exactly do you want to be in the future? Why do you even go to school right now? Like, why not just drop out? Why do you even do the things that you're doing right now? Well, these are all very hard questions for a 17-year-old child to answer right now, but have you ever sat down and thought why they were so hard to answer in the first place? No, right? Well, it's actually because of all the complacency in this world that we are unable to express ourselves in a truthful manner. And well, unfortunately, complacency is everywhere around the world. In the totalitarian control of our dictators, in our bystanding of evil, and even in our dozing off inside the unconscious collective. Though complacency may be everywhere across the globe, W.H. Auden has inspired me, and hopefully you, to be just that little bit different, one step at a time. Today, I'll be talking about how he uses these grand narratives to deepen our understanding on the repercussions of complacency as he informs us on how to be more active and aware in the societies we live in, with his first text, The Unknown Citizen. I've always gone to school my whole life just for the sake of it without ever knowing why or ever knowing its purpose in my life. Haven't you always heard that one naughty kid where he's like, when are we going to use this in life? Well, it's true. When are you going to use it in life? Auden wrote this during the 1940s, which is when that prick Hitler was still prevalent, going around killing random Jewish people. Not saying that he's not prevalent today, but when Auden wrote this, he was still in the midst of things, inspiring him to express his thoughts and opinions to enable people like me and you to do the same thing.
Yeah, this is the boring stuff, so I'ma just hype it up a little bit.
My boy Auden over here using grand narratives to deepen our understandings on our mindless conformities as he manipulates people like me and you to see the fascist world from an alternative viewpoint. Like, Auden is low-key kind of good at this as he criticizes totalitarian control in the lines that in the modern sense of an old-fashioned word, he was a saint, for in everything he did serve the greater community.
His biblical allusions compare mediocrity to religious followings, critiquing the social paradigms created solely to benefit the government.
He enhances this idea of vigorous dictatorship with the hyperbole saint, where he depicts a mundane citizen being highly appraised for his conformity, exaggerating an overly sarcastic tone to mock the excessive praise rewarded to following mediocrity. Kinda like when your mom compliments your siblings so you can copy them.
The composer's purpose is to deepen our understanding on our mindless conformities as he critiques fascist norms and oppressive state power, extensively using grand narratives to inform us on how the lack of identity creates an unconscious society.
This is also evident in the quote that he held the proper opinion for the time of the year, where Auden forces us responders to adopt an alternative viewpoint on the citizen's supposed free will, using his voice as a speaker to reveal the truth behind the state's fascist rulings. Auden uses his grand narratives in the format of a second-hand report to deliberately shape a distant relationship with the readers and the citizens, informing society that fascist dictators are able to easily control a mindless society. Kinda like in those creepy mind control movies or those freaking android stuff. Readers of this text speculate that Auden was deepening our understandings on the inadvertent oppression created by totalitarian control, encouraging us to be more active and aware in our own mindless conformities when confronted with the oppressive state power. This makes Auden a freaking genius in the way he uses grand narratives to inform us on how mindless conformities empower a totalitarian control, dictating our individualities. The mocking nature allows Auden and the reader to collectively deepen their understandings on the overpowering government system rulings that control our humanity, forcing us to reevaluate the power hierarchies that normalize it. Through grand narratives, our understanding has deepened in the sense that our choices have now become more active and aware against the fascist ruling systems.
A good example of this right now are the completely irrelevant governments controlling our social medias right now. Like, imagine missing out on this.
You would not believe your eyes.
Alright guys, y'all are getting like pretty tired right now, so let's just relax a little bit, okay? Even though Auden literally just educated us on the government systems being the reason for society's downfall, like, your boy still has more to say. Being used to all the wrongdoings in this world, being complacent with all the evil that's happening around us right now like it's normal, it reminds me of myself, and it'll definitely remind you guys of something of your own things too. You know, during year 8, me and a couple classmates played Truth or Dare. One of the dares was to flip the table and make a huge mess of the classroom. It got to the point where the person broke glassware and the classroom was in utter disgust. And you know what? I just stood there watching it all unfold with my eyes. Auden wrote this insightful poem well on September 1st, 1939, like the title. He lived in a world where he saw and heard bystanding, leading to the brutality of millions in a world where evil became normalized. This is when Auden here deepens our understandings on the repercussions of bystanding as he uses grand narratives to depict a new perspective on society's seemingly blissful ignorance. Me and you right now, not so different, as we continue to onlook our peers doing the wrong things. So Auden profoundly reflects our greedy inaction in times of obvious wrongdoings in his lines, faces along the bar, cling to the average day. The lights must never go out, the music must always play. The judgmental tone reveals their obsession with maintaining their average day as it becomes a metaphor for how society is willing to turn a blind eye in order to keep their place. It is to the extent of a society creating a delusional world where the lights and music must always play. This alludes to our refusal to condemn all evil in this world as we choose the easier path of living in unrealistic lives, blocking out our reality. Our delusional world could be the life you show right now at school, where nobody knows who you are outside of school and you are able to just be who you think is the best lie of yourself. Auden's intention is to deepen our understandings of a collective bystanding by informing our inactions, creating a society where wrongdoings are passed off and normalized. This is substantially apparent in his lines, in a euphoric dream, out of the mirror they stare, imperialism's face, and the international wrong. The composer here manipulates a confronting relationship between the speaker and the reader as he uses grand narratives to condemn people's selfishness and seemingly indifference against the face of evil. Like you've seen this crap 1,000 times in movies where a girl makes friends, she gets bullied, and then her new friends watch in fear as they might be next. Well, ironically, these tellings could be quite a simple but accurate depiction of bystanding in real life.
This is what makes Auden exceptionally wise,
as he uses grand narratives to inform us on the repercussions of onlooking gruesome sins that create an unjust world where evil always goes unnoticed. The judgmental tone of the confronting poem inspires readers to deepen their understandings on the blind eyes turned against immorality, re-evaluating the delusional comforts amassing to the acceptance and normalization of evil. Through the grand narratives of W.H. Auden, we are encouraged to take action against evil and rethink the utopian world that built up our refusal to accept the harsh reality in the first place. This is what deepens our understandings and motivates the society to become more active and aware against the onlookers of immorality. I know, there's still more. Don't worry about it though, because we're like 3/5 of the way there. And the conclusion doesn't even take that long. So sit your butt down and think about the world we live in so far. A world of chaos and mass murder. Yet for what reason? There's so many countries out there, even nowadays, with military conscription. Currently, there's Russia, China, Brazil, Sweden, Korea, and so much more. It's almost absurd, like they're training for a war that hasn't even happened yet. They're all training against each other, but quite frankly, what if none of them were planning to fight in the first place? Wouldn't that be so much better? But if all the soldiers were conscious enough to think that, then boom, we wouldn't be here right now, and China wouldn't be warning America for a nuclear showdown. Like literally all I did was search up nuclear war, went on news 2 weeks ago, that's what you see. This is why Auden wrote this poem in 1952 after the gruesome aftermath of World War II, which was witnessed by the whole of mankind. He wanted to express the apathetic violence he thought throughout the battlefield so he could inspire us to ponder harder on the reasons why our useless fighting continues. Here, the work of W.H. Auden also deepens our understanding on the Persian societies we live in today, as he uses grand narratives to represent the collective unconscious inside war. Yet all those soldiers we perceive so heroically aren't so heroic at all. Yeah, they defeated an enemy, but that enemy could have been you, your dad, your brothers, or even any of your peers. Auden here guides us on our journey through life by exposing the flaws of mindlessly joining the masses, proven in his lines, a million eyes, a million boots in line, without expression waiting for a sign. The warriors being reduced to their empty parts allude to their lives being devalued as cogs inside a larger war machine, representing their humanity as nothing more than mere parts inside a collectively brainless society. This is exaggerated with the highly apathetic tone of the warriors emotionlessly marching towards a sinister war, revealing the normalization of mass murder as a social paradigm rather than a sinister act of violence. Literally, these are still people of today. They're amongst your peers, your brothers, your fathers, and quite frankly, almost every man you know, even your oppas. Which is why Auden's purpose is to inform us on the dehumanization of partaking in a mindless war, as he deepens our understandings on our inactive action amassing to the apathy of human life, extending to the point of becoming a war machine. This is also evident in his quote, "Out of the air, a voice without a face, proved by statistics that some cause was just." We all enlist to wars with such false hopes of justice and future peace, when all war really creates is a divide between the populace and even more chaos than ever before. Those sweet little faces we all know become monsters in the face of war. This is where Auden manipulates a sympathetic relationship with the reader and the speaker as the warriors struggle to find a meaning behind the endless brutality, informing us on the futile results of war being justified as humanity's collective unconscious to partake in some kind of sick heroism. Through the apathetic lens of the speaker, the readers deepen their understandings on the normalization of immorality as the bodies of warriors become nothing more than just numbers. Respondents of this poem speculate Auden is trying to use grand narratives to expose the apathy towards the mass murders of war, dehumanizing the humans as killing machines and empowering us to reinterpret the inhumane social paradigms created by a mindless war. This makes Auden extremely intelligent in the way he uses grand narratives to reveal the faults of the social paradigms that normalize the mass numbers of the past and now the mass numbers of the present. Such a shame, complacency has created so many problems for our world in almost every aspect of our life too. It's easy to blame our complacency on the dictators that control our every move, preventing us from even expressing who we are or even allowing us to do what we want. Every single person has a you inside, so why not go against the government and show it? But we also have ourselves to blame as well. All those seconds that pass by without a finger being lifted against evil, we're the ones normalizing evil. We are the ones that allowed this to amass as a social paradigm. Normalizing evil includes normalizing all those deaths as well. On the news, on the screens, all we see are numbers. But what's really behind those numbers are families, friends, people. When you're the killer, you're just as bad as the enemies you killed.
So let's just try our best together to make this world a better place by getting rid of as much as complacency as we can.